During the summer in the Pacific Northwest, the conditions are drastically different than in the winter. It's dry, dusty, and hot. In the winter though, it's wet and cold, and that means slow and muddy trails. But with the bike we're going to test today, that won't be a problem. Meet the Norco Range C2. In this video, we'll ride the bike that's gotten so much hype over the last year, winning 2021 Bike of the Year and getting rave reviews from many people. Today, I'll take this bike to two places, Duthie and then Tiger Mountain. The purpose of this test isn't to see if the bike is fast, because we already know that. Rather, I want to see how much the weight and burly construction gives up playfulness, and most of all, how much faster this bike is. I've been hearing the Range is a bike that does the driving for you, and I'm interested to see if that holds true. Let's start with some specs of the build. The bike that I tried is a part of the Ride Bicycles demo fleet. Huge thanks goes out to the shop for the quick and easy demo setup. If you want to book this bike for yourself, I've left a link in the description that you can follow to get a nice discount. This build is the C2, in the middle for spec, between the nicer C1 and the more affordable C3. It features Norco's high pivot carbon range frame in this brown and tan color, and was wrapped to be protected. The bike has a RockShox Zeb Ultimate in the front with 38mm stanchion diameter, in order to keep the front nice and stable in rough terrain. The rear shock is a Fox DHX2 coil, and I was running a 500-pound spring to be slightly on the stiffer side. This entire drivetrain is SRAM GX Eagle 12-speed, containing the cassette, chain, derailleur, shifter, and cranks. Brakes are also SRAM, being the code Rs. While I did expect Norco to stock downhill 4-piston brakes on this bike, I was slightly disappointed here, but we'll get to that later. Additional smaller parts include a Trans-X adjustable dropper, DT Swiss 350 hubs, Deity Ridgeline bars, and DMR death grips. I wanted to talk about the tires for a second, because the stock tires tell us a lot about the bike's design. Norco specs the Range with a Maxxis Assegai in the front and a Dissector in the rear. Both tires have the double-down casing, designed to be strong and durable in rough trails. This clearly shows that the main purpose of the Range is fall-line downhill trails, which I completely agree with. Talking about geometry, I won't get into too many numbers, but on the size large I rode, the reach is 480mm, the head tube angle is 63.25 degrees, and the chainstay length is 442.5mm. Compared to my sight, which is super playful but also pretty capable, the Range is a bit longer and slacker. I'm not the biggest fan of relying on geometry numbers to determine the bike's feel though, so I prefer taking it for a real ride. Now we're going to start out at Duthie, which is probably the exact opposite trail system this bike is designed for, but I think it's important to test a bike on all sorts of trail, not just what it's designed for. Oh god, guys, this is dumb. I mean, it's probably fine, but I don't know what I'm doing. This is going to be quite the tank for jumping. I'm not sure how it's going to go. It's definitely not a Duthie bike, but I'm going to see if I can make something work, because I mean, most of the riding around here is like technical stuff like Tiger, but you know, you may encounter some of this stuff. Definitely takes a lot to get this going, because it is a lot heavier. This really only applied to the flatter, flowier trails. Later, this absolutely changed. Just a bigger bike in general takes a little bit more to get going, especially compared to my sight, which is a pretty playful bike to begin with. This is a pretty big contrast to that. After getting the shock set up a little bit better, I was ready to ride some actual laps. Well, once the bike was set up more appropriately, it didn't actually take that much effort to get over these jumps. I wanted to push the limits though, so let's try something much more difficult.
Oh. Oh, God. He's just perfect every time. I pedaled into 4 and I barely made it.
Let's try that again. I think I can clean it up a little bit. Much better that time. So I guess the 170mm range can ride dirt jumps. I'm as surprised as you are. The bike definitely isn't a Freeride machine or playful trail bike, but I wouldn't necessarily avoid this bike if you're looking to ride a little bit of flow here and there. Still, it's not my number one pick for Duthie, so if that's all you ride, then definitely pass. Now we're gonna head up to Tiger to see a full range of this bike's capabilities. There's one thing you all should know about me. Wet routes, or any routes for that matter, freak me out. I'm not a racer, nor do I consider myself a fast rider. Most of my riding experience has been on jumps, and I don't have that much practice on technical trails. I still think we can hit Predator though, the gnarliest double black tech trail at Tiger, to see what this bike is all about.
Alright, Predator. Make it a little dark here because it is just about sunset, but it is winter. Why is this bike so good? Holy crap. What did I just do? That's the fastest I've ever ridden that trail. Way faster than normal. Holy crap. That's ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. I'm so speechless, it's hard for me to think of something. Wow.
Yes, that was absolutely ridiculous, but let's finish riding Lower Predator before we dive into the full experience.
All right, we're just gonna go all the way Lower Predator so you guys can see the full experience here. Whoa! I've never gapped that before. Oh my goodness. This bike just eats that trail alive.
Remember how the roots scared me? Well, when I'm on this bike, we don't have to hit any wet roots at all. This bike spent more time in the air than on the ground. I was literally jumping anything and everything in my path. Never have I felt so speechless when riding a trail, but this bike just went for it and I was feeling much faster than I've ever felt on a bike. It's really difficult for me to put the experience into words, so let's dive into the technical experience a little bit deeper. I want to talk about 3 things: plowing, airing, and traction. After my test on Predator, I noticed the Range has great small bump sensitivity. All minor impacts are absorbed and make the trail feel smoother despite there being rocks and roots scattered under you. The bike also uses the travel well in technical situations. A lot of suspension is used towards the beginning of travel to give a smooth and plowy feel, but it doesn't blow through this travel. When you need the extra bit, the bike responds well. In slow, janky sections, the Range didn't feel big and awkward to handle, which actually surprised me. Some bikes have easily defined limits, but not the Range. It will push you to your limits because the bike can pretty much ride everything. Many people also put longer travel forks on, which totally makes sense. It definitely plows and deserves the fast race bike title it's known for. Let's also mention airing. Since the Range was going so fast, I was jumping off so many rocks and roots on the trail that I've never seen before. Anytime I encountered a section of roots with a good runout, my instinct was to pull because I knew that landing on roots would be totally fine. The Range would be able to handle landing in gnarly terrain without any problems. When you pick up speed from landing, I didn't notice any braking or control issues as well. It felt natural and comfortable. Finally, traction. When I picked up this bike, my first impression was that it was way too heavy to be maneuverable. Even though it's a burly build, the Range maintains a light and manageable feel. In corners, not a lot of effort is needed to change direction. Traction is very well balanced between maintaining grip in corners, but also allowing you to drive the bike through chunky obstacles on a trail. A lot of this is due to the tires, which maintain a lot of traction when brakes are grabbed hard or when you go into a corner. So that wraps up my time riding the Range, and I'm super stoked on the experience. I would recommend this bike for the racer who just needs to go fast, or someone that's an enduro enthusiast. I know I didn't talk much about climbing, but this is not the most efficient pedaler. It's designed to go fast downhill and not so much up. The Range would be a bike of choice for riding bike park in the summer and steep, gnarly descents. That's it for today, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.